Audio Diary, October 15th, year 2020. This is part 6 of my recount of the events of December 5th, 2000. My name is Eli Vance, and this is Isaac Kleiner.
Hello.
If you're listening to this, it means one or both of us is not here to tell you about this in person. This is sensitive information regarding the events of the Resonance Cascade and should not be allowed to fall into the wrong hands. As the years have gone on, we have managed to reconstruct a picture of what happened to Gordon once he crossed over. The Lambda Complex had their own ways of monitoring border world activity. I believe some of the tracking devices built into the Mark IV HEV suits did just that. The men and women of the Lambda team kept their promise. They were with him all the way to the end, watching from our side. God rest their souls. What their sacrifice enabled us to do, what they achieved, cannot be understated. Because of the data they were broadcasting out of the complex, we had the coordinates, the specific resonant frequencies, huge pieces of data that we could eventually use to reverse what had been done at Black Mesa and seal this world off for good.
What needs to be preserved is the story of what Gordon did. We have pieced together what we can from the Lambda team's data and what has been shared with us by the Vortigaunts. Gordon crossed over into the border world on December 7th. He spent roughly 12 hours there. According to the Vortigaunts, he traveled a great distance on foot before finding the source of the initial invasion. The Lambda team had been sending him supplies. They had supplementary tracking portals operating at lower power. Rather than evacuate using the slingshot portal technology that Barney had used, they opted to stay in the facility and provide Gordon with ammunition, medical supplies, and power as he moved through the border world. For that reason, we owe our lives to them as much as we do to him.
The data that they transmitted before the facility collapsed paints a picture none of us could have expected. At Black Mesa East, we spent years scratching our heads, trying to determine what it meant. You see, the creatures Gordon was fighting in the border world had evolved in such a way that they caused distinct temporal disturbances. They had a biological ability to create and manipulate the kinds of portals we had spent decades learning how to form artificially. The Lambda team had been aware of this. A lot of the technology they'd been using to monitor the border world was based around detecting those temporal disturbances. Any single localized event that manipulated space-time would be easy to track through the Lambda team's equipment. What didn't make sense was that as Gordon moved through the border world, he became easier and easier to track. His temporal data was more and more definable mathematically the further he got toward the immense being that was holding the portal open.
This is where we discovered that we had been wrong about the Lambda team's equipment. We thought the portal-creating species living in Zen was trackable because we could measure the portals they created. We later found that what we were actually measuring was their temporal significance. The space-time event of creating a portal is so significant from a causal standpoint that it becomes easy to track mathematically. It pulls other events in time toward it in the same way a massive object attracts smaller objects through gravity. Gordon did not have the ability to biologically create portals, and yet he became easier and easier to track as he moved towards the creature in the border world. The Vortigaunts have a theory about this, and I am inclined to agree with them.
The entire human species, whether they were aware of it or not, was counting on Gordon. In the last few hours of his time on the other side, he had become a causal nexus. He was a shatterpoint, a space-time event of such significance that his temporal data outweighed even that of the immense being that he fought. He had become the tip of humanity's spear, the tooth and claw of planet Earth.
He was the raging fist of Black Mesa, a single ape daring to face down the universe and survive. That is what the Vortigaunts understand that the Combine cannot. It was Gordon's actions that made him significant, and the hope we place on him in his absence is nothing but inevitable. The transmissions from from the Lambda team ended right after Gordon's signature became too large to accurately locate. In the last few minutes before the first portal closed, the entire Lambda complex was consumed by a massive backfire of their own portal technology. We know not what caused it, but the prevailing theory is that it was a last-ditch effort by the Lambda team to assist Gordon, opening their Zen relay and setting it to maximum.
The temporal data at the last point of transmission suggests exactly what the Vortigons have been saying all these years. Gordon is alive. He's out there somewhere. I have a vague idea of where he might be, too, but that is a speculation for another day. What I can say with certainty is that if he were to show up again, there would never be a better time than right now. If his actions weren't enough, science has proven him as the right man to make a difference. The world might be in a sorry state. He might only be one man. But I firmly believe that the right man in the wrong place can make all the difference in the world.